Hey, this is me building and strategizing a $2 million a year business in public. Last month I made 128 grand in profit, and next month I want to hit 167K. And the way that this works essentially is we start off with a little bit of daily Q&A. So I answer questions that people from the community or from my channel have left me in the last 24 to 48 hours. Then I do some brand stats, and then we wrap it all up with some strategy. So I've been doing this for a while. And because of that, I now have a new Excalibur. If you guys want access to all of the notes and stuff like that, just check the description. I'll give all of this stuff away to you for free. It's all just knowledge at the end of the day. So we're going to call this Q&A, daily brand stats, and then finally we'll wrap it up with some strategy. And I have some pretty interesting strategy to do today. I'm also pretty excited because we have the first batch of content for the fans page strategy that I've been talking about for the last few days. And finally, I think I've ironed out the system because I believe I currently have 2 streams of OBS running, one with my face cam and then another one with the screen share, as you guys could see here. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm pretty stoked about it. Let's just dive right in. We're up to 929 subs on the daily updates channel. So that's growing. Looks like we had kind of a spike, 77 the other day. Fantastic. That's what I like to see. We are going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the daily Q&A. And let's see what that last question was. Is this sorted by newest? Yes, it is. Okay. We have Oliver Fordham. He says, hey, Nick, just a quick question. What do you think about productizing automation for resale as a form of an automation agency? An example would be creating a cold email plus LinkedIn outreach system and then selling the outcome as an offer. So the entire business is in essence reselling this template. Yeah, that's a good idea. Rinse and repeat the process of different scenarios built as opposed to a subscription model as left click is. Yeah, don't get me wrong. You can do this. There are no rules in business, to be honest. No hard rules anyway. And basically any rule that you could think of, you can bend and shift and push around a little bit. So, I want you to know that you can. It's just there's some pros and some cons to this method. Okay. So let's say we productize an automation for resale as a template, and then you sell the outcome as an offer, so the entire business is in essence reselling this template. It is no longer really an automation agency, okay? What you are is you are an outreach agency. You have built systems, you built one system, you do that system really well, and then you're selling the outcome. You're not selling automation anymore. What you're doing is you're selling cold email, you're selling LinkedIn outreach. So we got a member of the community, his name's Saad, who joined Make Money with Make and was a YouTube viewer probably from day one. And he did this and he scaled to $80,000 a month. I don't know how many months he had 80K, but he had at least one month, $80,000 in revenue, the vast majority of that profit, doing basically exactly this, maybe minus some of the cold email, minus some of the LinkedIn outreach stuff. So I want you to know it's totally doable. It's just you're changing, like in essence, the business that you are doing. It's no longer really an automation agency. In addition, you're also doing a couple other things, okay? So to be clear here, you are rinsing and repeat the process with different scenarios built as opposed to subscription model. So are you saying that this is not a subscription model? Okay, so to be clear, if you have, let's say, one-time revenue versus a subscription model, okay, this is what it looks like. Let's pretend that one-time revenue here is in red, and then subscription is going to be in green. One-time revenue usually looks like this. Okay. This might be January. This might be February. This might be March. This might be April. If we contrast that with subscription or recurring revenue, this is typically what it looks like. They start at the same spot, but you'll see that instead of these big spikes that go up and down, what we have is we have a gradual increase in monthly recurring revenue that takes longer to rise, but typically is substantially more predictable, and then will eventually outscale something like this. Like if the trend line in growth is like this on the one-time side, the trend line in growth in the automation agencies, in the recurring model is kind of like this. Okay. So why do I bring this up? I bring this up because there are pros and cons to one-time revenue versus contracted recurring revenue. If you sell a subscription like I do, you'll make a little bit less money up front typically, but that money will accumulate over time. Month 2, you're not going to go back down to 0 and have to resell everything. what you're going to have is you're going to have a stable base minus some churn that occurred in the previous month, essentially. So pros and cons to both methods. What I recommend usually is, if you want to follow my business model and sort of the way that I did it, I started off with one-time revenue. And I did that so that I could spike my revenue really big. And I did that for the first month or two. And then after I had this massive revenue stockpile, I then took all that money and just shoved it into growth for some sort of recurring service instead. And so because of that, I was able basically to have the best of both worlds. This is what I recommend for any business model, any service business model. You get that big initial spike, right? And then you're capable of taking that spike. And of course, you'll have some down. But because you've just, gotten all of this money, you can invest a big, big chunk of this into growth and email systems and whatever. And then you can kind of start recouping. So, as opposed to the previous model, which kind of looked like this, you now get the benefit of that big spike. You get a ton of work at the beginning. You get maybe some referral opportunities, stuff like that. And that's sort of the difference between one-time and subscription. So I know I went a little bit further than the specific question, but I hope that makes sense. I'm just going to drink a little bit of my coffee while I read through the rest of these, because if I don't, then my coffee will get cold, and this is a waste of time making it. I feel like I answered Joe's question already. Have I not? Let me just double check, because I feel like I have. I guess you can't just search. Let me just type Instagram. Yes, cool. Yeah, I've answered Joe's question. Joe, I love you to death, buddy. I'm just going to remove this. Otherwise, I get kind of confused, okay? Actually, no. Instead of removing this one, I just like this. Yeah, so I don't remember when I answered this, but I answered it somewhere. So check, the intros of a couple of vids. I take it. I'm going to say I haven't responded. This is my own little project management on YouTube. So, okay. Ayushdas says, hey, Nick, it was awesome to find one of your videos. The channel taught me so much, like N8N Basic JSON, in a simple and easy way. That Batman voice really hits hard. I'm Batman. I don't think I sound like Batman, but thank you. Which Batman are we talking about? Christian Bale Batman? All right, maybe. But like old school Batman? George Clooney Batman? I don't know. There's so many Batmen, As a beginner, I'm eager to get my first clients. Currently, I'm a generalist. Want to work my way into a specific niche. How can I secure them? Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Yeah, I mean, these are all great questions. So how can I secure your first few clients? I recommend just doing a lead gen approach that doesn't require you to do things like customer education. Because look, this to me sounds like an absolute, and I would not speak in absolutes for anything. In reality, life is shades of gray. So it's not that this requires significant customer education versus other fields that don't require customer education. It's that this requires more customer education than a lot of the other fields that you might be comparing it to implicitly. So that shouldn't be a blocker for you. It shouldn't be like an excuse or anything like that. How would I secure my first few clients if I were you? I would focus on approaches where you don't need to do any customer education at all. So approaches where the customer already understands what the service is. They already understand the value of the service. You are unfamiliar with this concept. It's kind of called like, I don't know where I got this from, to be honest. But I consider this called like buying temperature or sale temperature or interest ladder or whatever. But basically, if this is your ladder, okay, and you're a salesperson, the way that it works is you have to bring, or rather, in order to get a sale, the sale is up here. And this is like the starting point. Every one of the rungs on this ladder is a different thing you have to do. So, or a different thing the customer has to do. So let me give you an example. Like customers, when they start, okay, they don't even know that they're suffering from a problem. So what you have to do is you have to educate them on what that problem is. So you have to teach them, basically, that they have a problem. You have to, education's a loose term here. You have to tell them that they have a problem, okay? So that's number one. Once you're done telling them that they have a problem, what you need to do is you need to educate them that there is a solution. You need to sell them on the idea of your solution. So now you got to elucidate the benefits and the features and all that fun stuff, right? Basically, they need to figure out that there's a solution. After they know that there's a problem and they know that there's a solution, basically, they need to figure out that you are the right service provider, okay? So this is sort of like the choice Now, basically, at all these different levels, there are different lead gen platforms that work for problems, solutions, and choices. The one that I'd recommend going straight to the choice one, which is Upwork. Logically, if you're working on a freelance or jobs platform, like the people that are posting requests for proposals, they already know what the problem is. Okay. Now they're not going to know it super deeply, and you are still going to have to do a little bit of work. But just as a rule of thumb, they know that they're suffering from a problem. That's why they're on a freaking jobs platform in the first place. They also know that there's a solution, which is why they made a post for AI developer that does XYZ. The only decision that they're making is they're choosing between which automation specialist or developer to do. So your work is, you don't have to do 99.99% of the work. All you have to do is just justify why you're the right choice. And then, obviously, no matter what, you have to close. So very few platforms or approaches or strategies are going to have the customer ready to close right away, but that's kind of like the last thing that you have to do. So now, instead of you having to do this first 50% of the buying ladder, it's already done for you. You just pay the value of that 50% to a service in the form of connects or some advertising or something. And then all you have to do is you just have to do the other 50%. It's almost like when you play a video game. Okay. You finish a quest or something and you're already at 50% of the way to the next level. Obviously, you'd rather do this than start from blank every time, right? So that's my mindset on that. That's sort of a good way of thinking about it. Platforms for uploading content, I don't know, man. It's kind of tough to say. Like, you can make any work, to be real. So it's hard for me to really provide you some tips on that. And whether you're allowed to take my exact content, tweak it, and post it while starting out. Listen, man, like I mentioned at the beginning, there's no rules. You can do whatever the hell you want as long as you can get away with it. So are you allowed to? Yeah. Like, I'm not going to say that you are disallowed. I'm not going to come after you with pitchforks. But I will say that a lot of people are doing that. And so it's not necessarily probably the most valuable. And if you get in the habit of just copying people for everything, as opposed to iterating it or making some changes, like you're not really learning the deeper strategies that'll make you successful in business. You're just solving a very short-term temporary problem. So, definitely take inspiration from me and from a bunch of other people. But my earnest recommendation for you would be to take that inspiration and then, start adding your own twist to it. Start adding your own value as quickly as possible. Looks like Mark got to the end of the video where it cut out or something. He said, the bit rate. So many variables. Yes, it's true. Yeah, man, I bought, by the way, me and Mark are going to do some sort of podcast style chat. If you guys haven't checked out his channel, then definitely jump in. Cool guy. He recorded me like an in-depth video walking me through his studio setup on like an unlisted YouTube video, and then emailed it over to me after he started watching the channel. So thank you very much for that, Mark. But yeah, about the RTX thing, being a big graphics card. Essentially, I bought like the swankiest MacBook a couple years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. So I have like an M2 MacBook. It's like kitted the hell out. I'm not like technologically challenged or anything. Like, I understand how much memory I need to do various things and so on and so forth. But the source record plugin, which basically does the same thing as branch output, just kept on failing for me halfway through my recording. Like, I'd be accumulating, I guess, a big ass file. And yeah, so I've just had to come to the conclusion that, like, when you are doing long form content like I am, and you're trying to have the output in 4K, you're going to run into some issues. I ran into an issue with Screen Studio yesterday when I recorded my last daily update. 2 days ago, Source Record is a problem. 3 days ago, some other approach is the problem. So now what I'm doing is I'm actually just using the terminal to launch 2 OBS instances simultaneously. And you have to use, I think, -n. There's just some config option that allows you to launch more than one. And then I go through and then I like adjust my settings for each. So as we could see here, I have 2. This is my first one, which I'm looking at right now, which you guys can't see. And then this is the second one, which is recording my full face. And in OBS, what you can do is you could check to see the dropped frames. So I'm currently seeing that I have 0 dropped frames, meaning that the current bit rate that I'm operating at is okay. If I were to do a lot more on my computer, maybe I'd run into some problems. I don't know. It's not the best quality in the world. I have better quality when I record just one stream, but I think it's worth it for me to take a little bit off the top if it means that I get my short strategy, the fan page strategy capability, which is good. Akshat says, it's relaxing to hear your voice. Do you practice some sort of inflections to make it sound that way? No, not really. I did do a lot of like door-to-door sales though. So I feel like you just learn to talk in a specific way when you do a lot of door-to-door sales. Not really sure. Thank you for helping me secure my initial couple of clients. Nice work, man. Now I'm thinking of going into custom projects where you work alongside their tech head of the business to either streamline their workflows or automate a segment of it. My plan is to work until they see results and later offer the template to find others. Can you please share some tips on how to do this in the most effective way possible? Thanks. And then he says greater than 3. I think it's supposed to be less than 3. Just busting your balls. So going into a custom projects where you work alongside their tech head of the businesses to either streamline their workflows or automate a segment of it. What you're referring to in different words is like done with you as opposed to done for you. Typically services like this, there are 2 types. There's done with you, DWY, and then done for you, DFY. Done with you is exactly what it sounds like, where you work with somebody to implement a system. And the real value of this is like education, and then the person has ownership over the system. Done for you sort of like solves a specific problem and it just hands them the solution on a template. So if you think about it, like my service, my coaching service is done with you, right? Like I help you, but it's an established protocol that you actually have to go through on your own. Something like my agency offers done for you services where it's like, hey, I need this X, Y, and Z. Can you do it for me? And then, I or somebody else in the team builds a solution out. So this isn't just like coaching versus agency stuff. Like there are many agency services that are also done with you and coaching services that are done for you. But yeah, just wanted to make sure you understood that distinction. That's just like the lingo that everybody uses in the industry. So what do I think about this? It sucks, man. I don't really like done with you because their tech head of the business, like, just tends to really blow. Like, I mean, most people are just a lot worse at this stuff than I am. So every time I try and work with somebody on it, it's just like 99% of the work is, dealing with like the weak link in the chain, basically, which is always them, right? My side of the chain is strong as hell. Their side of the chain is laggy, takes a lot of time to get back to me. They misunderstand simple things, instructions. I have to do a bunch of re-education over and over and over again. So I get it. Don't get me wrong. And I think this could work, but I probably wouldn't do this. And I probably wouldn't do this in my case. And that might just be because I have a lot of experience in the niche and I just like really hate working with people that don't understand stuff like this, where my outcome is contingent on their ability. That's what I don't like. So I don't really have any tips on how to do this. I don't really do this, and I wouldn't feel confident speaking about it. Sorry, bro. Hope I could at least provide some value and elucidate this niche and how it works. All right, Abdiaz says, what services could be offered for e-commerce businesses as someone who wants to start an AI automation agency? Or coaches? I guess this is him as well. I'm confused which niche to go for and what services to offer. Yeah, good question. I think if you were running an e-commerce business, most of the low-hanging fruit would already be taken care of by platforms that do things like, template out like product descriptions at this point, or send recurring product emails, or, checkout. You have an item waiting in checkout, right? Like most of the major e-commerce platforms offer that sort of service. So I think most of the low-hanging fruit's kind of taken care of, if I'm honest. And it's one of the reasons why I haven't really been able to niche down in e-commerce, although I've definitely worked with a bunch of people that do. Typically for e-commerce, it depends on whether it's B2B or B2C. If it's B2C, and like it's predominantly B2C, then what I do is I try and convert the B2C into B2B, my problem anyway. Instead of selling the product and improving the client's ability to sell the product to consumers, or maybe like D2C, direct to consumer, right? Same idea, really. Now I think like this is like, you sell something, you ship it to their front door. B2C, you might have some sort of retailer or something, I don't know. But I basically try and convert these into B2B problems, where instead of me trying to help them sell more things to customers, what I do is I assist them in reaching out to things like retailers or distributors or influencers, partnerships, that sort of stuff. So automations for stuff like that in practice usually means some sort of email campaign. I set up an affiliate funnel. And the affiliate funnel, good God, my writing is terrible. Oh, it's because we're really zoomed in. My affiliate funnel is reaching out to influencers and stuff like that to sell, to like give free things to them to encourage them to sell. Man, you guys would not believe how shitty most influencers are. Sorry, not most influencers. Most influencer marketing services are. They're terrible. Influencer marketing services are like PR services stuff. As somebody that is now considered an influencer, they blow like you could spend 30 minutes on any one of these campaigns, and you, with a single one of my YouTube videos, could 10x the results you're seeing from them. 90% of them are like, hello, dear. We're pleased to introduce you to new product here. We would love to offer you a generous affiliate percentage. Just click this link to sign up. Like these just suck, man. There's no personalization. There's no nothing. It's so easy to make these things better. So what you do is you find people that have some sort of social media channel. You scrape the first video, the first reel, the first LinkedIn post they made or whatever, like the most recent one. You paraphrase and summarize the post. Okay, so it's one line. You just include that in the beginning of your outreach. You say, hey, Sally, Nick here. I was just reading your post about insert paraphrased version here, and I found insert other thing that I had AI summarized here. Pretty interesting. I'm thinking you might be a fit for the brand that I work with, which is called X, Y, and Z. To make your life as easy as possible, here are the cliff notes. Does this sound interesting to you? Would you be interested at all? If so, we have an introductory promo offer. I'll pay you this much money today. No strings attached. Just really want to make sure you guys have this in your pocket. Or I'll send you over a swag kit. You literally just respond with your address and you're good to go. If you just take that approach to any one of these influencer affiliate offers, you'd start printing. And so that's what I do with, a lot of these retail businesses that just don't understand how to do that stuff. And this works really, really well. So yeah, I try and change a D2C or B2C problem into a B2B problem, essentially. Aside from that, you can obviously help them in other ways. Did I get paint on my favorite shirt? No, that's yogurt. I got yogurt on my favorite shirt. You can do stuff like add AI to newsletter or marketing sequences for sure. So you could take my approach of creating icebreaker variables, feed in some sort of survey or questionnaire as people sign up to the newsletter, or maybe feed in their product history, and then just do some sort of direct outreach to them like, hey, Sally, Nick here. I founded coolhats.com, and I know that you've, bought a couple of our things at this point. By the way, hope you're enjoying this product or paraphrased version of the specific order that they made. Just would love to hear more about like your thoughts on X, Y, and Z, where the company should go, and so on and so forth. So you could do that, and you can do that really well. That'd be my recommendation. And then coaches and stuff. Don't get me wrong. Your problem is not what services to offer e-commerce companies. Your problem is also not what niche should I choose. The problem is more so you feel like you need 100% confidence to be able to go after all these niches. Abdiaz, if you really wanted to do this, or Aziz, I'm not really sure, or Abdullah. If you really wanted to do this, you would just start now. You would pick 3 niches that you have like 70% confidence over, and you'd start like doing LinkedIn cold outreach or sending them videos or signing up to Upwork and applying to jobs. So that's the problem you should really be solving here, not what niche to go after and what services to offer. Okay, Nevmanis says, from watching a few of these videos, considering your articulation, thinking, and speed of decision-making, it seems you have a strong level of mental clarity. Does it come natural to you, or did you have to work through anxiety or self-doubt in the past? Do you rely on any mental frameworks to operate at this level? I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it comes natural to anybody, really. I didn't really have a ton of anxiety or self-doubt to work through, to be real. I definitely have moments of imposter syndrome, for sure. But I don't have any concrete mental frameworks that I can think of off the top of my head. I think there's a lot of value in just zooming out and just asking yourself, if I just went fully into this, how far could I go? And that reframes it from this problem where everything in your life is at stake to almost a curiosity problem. And it's just, if I just kept going, I wonder how far I could go. And if I optimized my life in such way, I'd be able to do more, which would improve my ability to land further. So maybe I should just do that. Like, I've always been a very curious individual growing up. And so most of my decisions were honestly molded by curiosity and reaction to some new thing that happened in my life than it was to me making some grand strategy or plan, to be real. So, maybe that's one mental framework, just trying to reframe stuff in terms of curiosity, genuine interest in what it is that I do or how far, I could rise than anything else. But aside from that, I have a couple good books that I could recommend you. I think your name is Anna, because I believe I watched a couple of your pieces of content after. you left me that. Um, The Great Mental Models is a great one. Yeah. It's by Shane Parrish and Brennan. Shane, I believe, is the founder of Farnham Street's blog. And basically what this is this is a series of problem solving. I really do not like their newsletter widget. That sucks. But it's a series of problem solving tools that allow you to approach all of these problems in a very particular and specific way that we've, itemized and turned into just a giant list of mental models. So one mental model might be first principles thinking. Another mental model might be similar to my curiosity one. I forget the name, but I think this is like, what I'm saying is like some sort of paraphrased version or summary of one of the models in one of these 4 books. They basically borrow all of the greatest sources of knowledge throughout history. So sources of knowledge in physics and chemistry and biology, mathematics, economics, great artists. And then they compile all of this into a list of tools that you could use. Like, hey, start thinking from first principles when you approach this problem. Here's how to reverse engineer anything practically. Here's how to, apply this concept in chemistry to other things. And then next time you have a problem, you just go through the list, basically. You say, okay, top 5 mental models. How would I solve this problem if I looked at it from a lens of first principles? How would I solve this problem if I looked at it from a lens of X, Y, and Z? So yeah, those are some solid mental frameworks for sure. And then curiosity is pretty important. Albert says, hello, Nick. What was the biggest lesson you learned in your hardest AI project on your AI journey? Biggest lesson I learned. I think the biggest lesson I learned was that it doesn't actually matter what you are selling. AI, automation, these are all just fulfillment mechanisms. Doesn't actually really matter what it is that I'm selling. If you want to be a good business owner, you just learn everything around the fulfillment or the product. That may sound a little bit weird, but let me give you an example. Me selling AI and automation services is really no different than me selling plumbing services, okay? I have a list of features and benefits. I have systems and infrastructure that I built for my business to handle leads and new orders. I have some rules of thumb that I use when selling the client. I have a sales script or sales skeleton. I have, onboarding emails and so on and so forth. All of this stuff doesn't actually change industry to industry. The only thing that changes is the actual service that you provide. So a lot of people, they learn about a new niche like AI and automation, and then they're like, oh, this is going to revolutionize the world. This is what I need to do. And then they start getting really into the weeds of the service that they're providing. Now, listen, I love AI and automation. I'm probably one of the most passionate people on planet Earth about this thing. But I'm also pragmatic insofar that I know that at the end of the day, this is just another business. This is just the tail end, basically, of a long line of things that I could sell. So, for instance, this is the business, okay? It's this big, ginormous object. And the actual service that you provide is just a small little corner or chunk of it. The weirdest pizza ever. Definitely Hawaiian. Okay? So what this means is, right, you could swap out anything. These are your systems. These are your sales. This is your admin. This is your hiring, right? There's so many of these things. This is your ads. This is your copy. This is your creative. This is your marketing, right? This is your taxes, whatever. The only thing that we're swapping out here when we do, service businesses is this little thing, which is like the actual service that we deliver, which in our case now is AI and automation. But if you get good at just building a business, then you can do anything that you want. So that's probably the biggest and the hardest lesson I had to learn, that these shiny objects don't actually matter. There are a ton of core foundational principles that you can learn in business that typically the only way you learn is just getting into it. And if you figure that out, you could sell anything. Same thing as when I was selling videography. I use a lot of the same ideas. Same thing as when I was selling $250 or $300 a month Google My Business marketing services. Same thing when I was selling my first few courses on Skillshare and Udemy. Same thing when I was selling events to drunk college kids. So it's just the same thing, basically. It's not really an AI journey. It's more of just like a general business journey. Okay, I'm going to do one more because I don't trust that my new recording setup won't just fuck up at some point. Tyrone says, "Hey Nick, I've been following your content for months and find it really amazing how much value you provide. Thank you. Unreal. My question to you is, in your experience, what are the limitations of using middleware automations in highly regulated industries like healthcare or finance?" Oh man, that is getting cold. Are the regulations too tight to provide the kind of flexibility and value offered to small to medium-sized businesses? I don't know what you mean by middleware automations. Like, I understand obviously the thing you're going for, but like, is that a term? If so, I don't hear it in my day-to-day. I take it what you mean by middleware automations here is you're referring to these sort of like serverless, kind of serverless cloud backend things that we're calling with a bunch of dependencies, microservices. Like, Make is going to call ClickUp, and then it's going to call OpenAI, and then it might call DeepSeek, and then it might call some other thing, right? And because we're passing around information that people would probably consider sensitive, like healthcare info or finance info, are the regulations too tight to do this? So no, they're not too tight to do this, but they're definitely tighter than other situations. And because of that, I just don't really like dealing with it at all. Like in practice, what you have to do if you want to do these sorts of automations in healthcare, and you're in the United States, all of this is country dependent, by the way, and you're in the United States, you can't just use Make because Make is not HIPAA compliant. And so if you were to use Make, your tool that you do everything else for this, you know, you'd have some sort of final filter, the great filter at the end of your sales process where they'd be like, oh yeah, okay, cool. So just to cover everything, this is HIPAA compliant, this is that. And you have to be like, oh shit, it's not HIPAA compliant. That blocked the deal. Same thing with like, with some financial regulations. It just makes your life way harder, and you have to use alternative platforms, and you also have to do things like anonymize customer data. So like in my case, like I have a choice. Well, we all have a choice. You can choose to work with the niches that you want. That's kind of the amazing thing about being a business owner. There are no rules. And so you get to determine whether or not it's worth, the juice is worth the squeeze. In my case, the juice is almost never worth the squeeze. So I just try and stay away from highly regulated industries. And I stick in industries that are less regulated. And typically in practice, this means working with smaller businesses, although I've of course worked with 8 and 9 figure companies as well. So yeah, they aren't too tight to provide the kind of flexibility and value that I offer, but it's a gradient. And to me, it's just like, okay, like what are the pros of working with these enterprise healthcare companies? Well, I get bigger ticket sizes. I typically get longer contracts. They're slower moving businesses, so I can provide more like seemingly more value, even with like a base level of knowledge in it. But what are the cons? It's like, well, now I have to like, learn a whole new tech stack. I have to work with applications that I'm not very familiar with. I have to go through a bunch of bullshit and like anonymize customer data and stuff like that, as opposed to, if I want to build like a simple newsletter automation. I don't know. I might be like stringent to some regulatory checks. I might have some legal risk or downside. So in my case, the cost or benefit is like, I could get all of the same benefits if I just worked with other sorts of businesses. So I'm just going to do that. And then I don't have to worry about any of the cons, right? I could see some situations in which you're like really dead set on wanting to, I don't know, you have like tons of experience in an industry, or you have like a massive network and you're like, okay, I want to work in that industry. But I'd also just be a little bit more flexible. If you're going to do that, just do another 2 industries as well simultaneously. The additional marginal unit of your time required to duplicate your approach across 2 other industries while you're doing, your current one is very low. And you can realistically spend 6 hours in the main one every day, 1 hour on the second, and 1 hour in the third, and actually still be basically equivalent. Because most of the time and energy it takes to build like an outreach or lead gen system in one industry is just duplicatable, right? Like it's the same copy usually. It's like the same platform, same approach for the most part. So my recommendation would be do that. And then yeah, I personally just stay away from those. But again, no real rules. I know a lot of people that are printing money in healthcare. Don't get me wrong. So they just use stuff like Caragon, which is a HIPAA compliant Make alternative that costs like $500 a month or something, right? Or they will self-host stuff, and then they'll have to deal with like a bunch of bullshit related to that. Look, they say that they're very flexible. Okay, I'll leave it there. Now we got Brendan's question here, but I think I answered a buttload of them here. So yeah, we'll see how all that goes. Let's now cover brand stats. I don't like red. Too scary. We're going to use orange. So my brand stats last day are as follows. Ooh, man, we're almost done February. That's crazy to me. I've been doing this for a full month already. Wow. Just nuts how much you can accumulate with like consistently applied effort, huh? What I always have to do is I always have to pull up my Instagram on my phone because I want to get like the real time stuff. It's 23,720. I don't know if you guys see that. It's 23 grand, 720. Beautiful. My daily updates channel has gained some in just the last few minutes. So 929 now. Very sweet. And my main one, what was my main channel at? 50 something thousand? 53,400? 53,475. Nice. So yeah, I don't know. We had that really rough day with 184. I wonder if a lot of people unsubscribed to me after that YouTube video. Kind of curious. Can you see unsubscribes on YouTube? Maybe see more unsubscribe. Subscription status. How to see unsubscribes on YouTube. Subscribers gain extra filters to the columns under the graphic chart. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, relax. I mean, no shit, guys. Like, obviously, I don't care. These people are coping. They're not growing at all, and so they really care about losing a few. A subscribers gain, a subscribers lost. So what do? So I go back here, and then I go, like, lost. Subscription status. Yes. So, this is from January the 3rd. Have I really lost 1421? Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah. So this is the big spike, right? I lost 45. That's rough. That's rough, man. 45 in a day? Oof. Okay, why don't I zoom out of this thing? I've never actually looked at this before. It was really interesting. Okay, so it's basically, yeah, this makes sense. It's 1-for-1 with my subscribers gained. And obviously, the ratio is a little bit higher now. The reason why is because I'm doing split N8N and Make.com content. So there are a lot of people that sub to me for Make.com, and they're like, I don't want to do N8N, that sucks. And then they're like, N8N video, N8N, you should do AI agents in that. And they see it over and over and over again. So they're like, this is no longer the channel for me or whatever. I'm also much bigger, right? So back over here where I was losing 5 subs a day, I was probably like, I don't know, 10,000. And now over here, where I lost 45. So yeah, literally the biggest subscriber loss day on record after I posted that controversial video. I'm, closer to 50,000 or so. So all of this makes sense, I find the most important thing, just sort of as an off topic here, if I'm faced with some bad news, the most important thing is just like understanding it, being like, can I slot this into some explanation? The second I can explain something, it usually removes the emotional component. So when I received, a bunch of flack for that YouTube video, initially I was like, man, this sucks. And I was like, am I headed down the tubes? Is all this growth that I've accumulated just a waste of time? And then I was like, wait a second, that's stupid. Of course not. I have 50,000 subscribers now. Why did people unsubscribe? Right. It's because, like, from their perspective, it's some guy on YouTube saying, hey, you shouldn't do YouTube because I'm doing YouTube, right? Like I understand it. Second I made that explanation for myself, no more worries whatsoever. If you can label an emotion, then you're good. Yeah, so the revenue is about $200 a day, which is cool. We had a big day before. It was like 300. So the watch time's nice. 314 was the big day. You guys see down here? It's like 50, 60, and then I started posting again consistently. And then we like tripled basically. And then do you guys see back over here what was actually last 365? Check out how the revenues changed. So these were my earnings before, and then YouTube basically like banned me. They I don't know, there was some issue. And they banned my ads. And then I went down from $83 to like 10 a day for like 4 months or something. And then I just started posting so consistently that I was like, I don't give a shit, YouTube. Like, you're going to pay me one way or another, even if it's going to be like heavily throttled at 20% of the previous amount. Then eventually they were just like, oh my God, this guy, so many views. Of course we have to pay him. And then I jumped up to 234 on my peak. And then the same thing happened down here. So I got throttled again. And then I said, nah, that ain't happening. And then I started posting like crazy. And then boom, I spiked back up. And then I have a feeling I was just about to get throttled again. I was like, nah, man, we're not even going there. And then it's been nonstop consistency. So consistency is definitely the most important thing. And then obviously don't get your account throttled for whatever reason. That's also pretty important. Progress on the last video is pretty good. This one here, how to create useful voice agents with, how to create a useful voice agent in 45 minutes. Actually, what I should have done is how to create useful voice agents in 45 minutes. Why? Because it's basically the same thing, but it's plural and I get to eliminate a word. And in copywriting, you want as few words as possible with the biggest result. Yeah, I'm not going to say it was like the most revolutionary video for sure. And my thumbnail, I think, blows. I had to just copy it from my daily updates channel. I'm not looking at the camera or anything, which, you know, is going to impact readability, clickability and stuff.
What's going on, Steven?
But essentially, I talk to a robot. I have it book me an appointment. And then, yeah, like I show people how to actually do the VAPI play. That's pretty funny. Kevin, he's a member of my community and guy makes me laugh my ass off. I don't know why my calendar is February 2024. So yeah, that's pretty fun. Anyway, I'm just rambling at this point. Let's do a little bit of strategy now. Knowing what we know. Moving on to numero 3. Strategy. Got a little bit of work that I want to do today. I need to outline, maybe not outline, ideate, let's say, my next few videos. Let's do 3. Because I'm definitely behind on the N8N agents thing. I keep on saying agents. It's just, I have such a hard time getting actual business value out of these things that I don't feel good talking about them. But it's a massively exploding search term. And I'd be dumb as hell to not take advantage of it. There's some people that are younger, that know way less about these technologies, that they've made like 1/1000th of the amount of money I have on these. And then they're growing way faster than I am just because they're like really leaning into like agents this, agents that, agents will revolutionize everything, right? I don't want to be that clickbaity, but obviously if there's a big term, just to be pragmatic, I need to use the term in my marketing. So I need to use agents. This is like non-negotiable. I also was going to, I keep on pushing this back, which is so funny. I pushed this back a million times now. Basically, I need to buy my boxers. Now, I need to organize this damn blueprint library that I've been dragging my feet on for like a week and a half, 2 weeks now. One of the guys I work with, Santi, is currently converting a lot of my make.com flows to N8N flows, which is great because there's just no way I can do that at this moment while also juggling client demands for my agency, these videos, and all of this stuff. So I'm cognizant of that. Hopefully he does a pretty good job. But I still need to put those somewhere after I make them, right? So, and then I don't want to have to think about, you know, what exactly am I going to record? What am I going to record? What am I going to record? I have these ideas. I just need to like actually slot in systems to these ideas now. So I'm gonna do that. I'm going to outline my blueprint / template structure. And then by the end of today, and I'm not going to record this, but by the end of today, I also want to convert that newsletter draft that I made the other day into a full into a full onboarding email so that I can actually just start sending those out to take advantage of my traffic. So final draft of newsletter, onboarding. That onboarding email is going to go into a sequence of like 10 that I'm going to be sending out, maybe not 10, between 3 to 7. And you're just going to get them once a day for signing up. In the sequence, I'm going to give you all of the resources that people have downloaded the most, just to front load it and make sure that like you're at the same level as everybody else. You get a ton of value. I'm going to do the same thing when you sign up to Maker School. Matthew Larsen continues to recommend that I do this. He says it's like the simplest roadmap to less churn, as well as obviously having a bunch of people sign up to this product and do cross sells and stuff. And, you know, like to be real, I've been sort of doing the bare minimum. I mean, the bare minimum in my case is still a fair amount of work, but if I want to continue growing and if I want to increase the rate of my growth, I need to do more. I know that for sure. It's just been difficult with me traveling and stuff. So I also need to record my shorts today. And I have a big meeting with some dental consortium. It's not I don't know what a dental clinic owner, really. I think the guy owns like 10 or 15 dental clinics and he just wants one of my systems. So I need to prep for that. I have basically the whole day. So today I'm actually going to be working on most of this. And yeah, I'm going to record my shorts. This is a teleprompter that I just had shipped to my Airbnb. So it folds in 1 second. You can also use the camera in hand. Very exciting. I've always thought, a lot of the like Chinese knockoff brands that sell on Amazon and stuff, like if they just got a single English guy or girl to do the writing, like they'd make so much more money. It's crazy. They try pumping stuff into, Google Translate and stuff, and it just doesn't work, man. Like really hurts the perceived quality of the product. Also to have it written in Mandarin or Canto just kind of sucks. Anyway, whatever. I mean, I guess the point I'm making is I bought this shit for like $60. A little teleprompter I'm going to stick it on. I'm going to record my shorts. I have a big list of scripts here. So yeah, why don't I get started with the first? Why don't I just ideate some of my videos here with you guys? So I currently have a couple daily updates. One's open, right? Let me open up this one. This is the old one. Let me just make sure I'm still recording and nothing in my CPU is broken. Looks like we are indeed good. Wonderful. 0 frame rate drop. Over here, oh, sorry, that's not the one. Imported from Excalibur is the one I wanted to show you. Over here, I had a bunch of titles, right? How to set up N8N self-hosting in 3 minutes, I did. How to create a RAG website chatbot in X minutes, step by step. Okay, so this is obviously the next one I have to do because I was just having, I just had a conversation with these guys that I met out here in Halifax. These young guys, and they were just telling me that it was all the rage. So everybody's doing RAG, everybody's talking about RAG, and nobody understands it. So I trust young guys in Halifax, I guess. No, but this is something that I was planning on doing at some point. So how to create a RAG website chatbot in X minutes. Very first thing I have to do to make sure that this works, I have to title check it. How to create a RAG website chatbot in X minutes. Oh, I have a 1 at the front. Let me get rid of that. This is basically maxing out title length, which is truncated after 600 pixels. So, it's like going to capitalize and stuff. I don't know why the hell it's doing that. I could make this a really short video. Create and embed. If I said free template, it's just right over. And it's going to be actually, it's going to be like, I don't know, 28 minutes. And I need an how to create a RAG website. What are a few other ways to say website chatbot? Let me see. Embeddable. Chat agent is good. A RAG website agent. This is exactly 600, which is perfect. But is that really true? Is this really a RAG website agent? Okay, so you know what I could do to make this happen? Without feeling bad about it? I'm going to show you how to do this in like minutes. It's going to be really fast. You just literally go to N8N and then you add an AI agent and then you add like a knowledge base, 3 button clicks, and then you get a website link and embed it. I'll do it on my own website. It'll take minutes, seriously. But in order for me to, I'm not using the word like chatbot, which I think is what most people are imagining. Website agent can be anything. It could be something that browses the website, scans the website. It could be something like operator, right? So I need to show in the thumbnail an example of how this works. So somewhere in the thumbnail, there has to be like a, hi, how are you doing? Or something like that. I think that's doable. Okay. So my next piece of content will be how to create a RAG website agent in 28 minutes, free template. I need to show the N8N logo somewhere on there, and then I need to show, some pop-up. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but it'll be N8N logo, and it'll be some sort of chatbot pop-up. I don't know how the hell I'm going to do it. Basically, every time I've tried to design something through Canva or whatever, it takes me like an hour, and I stare at it, and I'm like, man, that sucks. And I just go back to my normal template, and it always performs pretty well. That's kind of the golden handcuff trap, but I think that'll be all right. Okay, everything I learned about prompt engineering in 14 minutes. That's great. A lot of people are asking me about AI and prompt engineering, so I could do that. I'm doing a lot of minutes here, so I'm seeing that right now. That may not be the best. Everything I know about prompt engineering could be good. Everything I know about prompt engineering, maybe I'll go like, when did I start prompt engineering? I guess 6 years ago now. 6 years of prompt engineering in 23 minutes. And I got a lot of room here, so I could add my little bracket stuff. 6 years of prompt engineering in 23 minutes, step by step. Or I could do something like 2.4 million earned. It's gone up. 23 minutes. I don't know how long it'll actually be, but that might work. I could say templates for sure. 6 years of prompt engineering in 19 minutes, 2.4 million earned. There'd be some sort of meta stuff where people see my earnings go up over time too. That'd be funny. Like, well, the last video, it said $2.3 million earned. Yep. I think that everything I know about prompt engineering is better though. Okay, but still, I could really demonstrate authority here because I'd say, I learned to prompt back with GPT-2. We're now talking GPT-5. So, like, I've had 4 iterations of this stuff to learn how to prompt. In between, there have been dozens of different models, and, I've gotten extraordinarily proficient at talking to artificial intelligence. In this video, I'm going to share everything that I know. Everything that I know about prompt engineering, everything I've learned about prompt engineering over the last 6 years in X minutes. We'll leave it there for now. I don't exactly know if I'm going to do 6 years of or everything I learned, okay? If I do everything I learned, I got to change the title. About prompt engineering. And I think I should go everything I know because no one learned. But I think there's a reason why I use learned instead of know. I think it's because somebody else did basically the same thing. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Whatever. Okay, so that's video number 2. Video number 3. XX things you didn't know you could do in N8N. That's a good one. Did somebody copy this? I've seen a lot of people post videos with that exact title in the last week. Somebody copying that? That hurts. That's definitely taking the wind out of my sails because I've had a lot of people post stuff like this. I don't know if I could still continue just posting the titles that I'm going to post if people are just going to copy me like that. That sucks. I want to be able to. Listen, if you're making a YouTube channel and you're trying to undercut me and you see this, then keep doing it because it makes me better. Still, though. Damn, man. X N8N hacks I wish I'd learned on day 1. It seems reasonable. Yeah. And I just had OpenAI do some research for me. This is very short, so let's say we do 39 N8N hacks I wish I'd learned. I wish I knew when I started. Or maybe I wish I knew earlier 2.4 million earned. That'd be cool. Right? Because nobody else has really made money with no code. I am obviously implying that I made money here with N8N. I did not make $2.4 million with N8N. Although a chunk of the $2.4 million is me teaching N8N, which I suppose could be considered value. I've had a couple of projects, but it's probably not even $25,000. All right, I'll think about it, but Anyway, this is going to be my near-term roadmap, which I'm pretty excited about. So these are going to be my three videos that I'm basically going to be making. I'll try and record them over the course of the next few days and then queue them up and get them ready to go. So that's the number one thing that I wanted to do. Non-negotiable done. And I did it all on video. Fantastic. I love being able to do stuff while also creating content, while also providing value to the viewers that are watching that are maybe trying to do similar stuff. Okay, the blueprint and template library. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one because I'm also realizing my camera's a little bit cutting off my head here. And if I want this content to be good, I got to go further back or I have to change my lens. That kind of sucks. Let me see if I could make myself a little smaller. There you go. I'm just such a big boy. Outline my blueprint and template structure. If I go back to make money with Make, go into my classroom, then go to my blueprint library. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a blueprint folder. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to about. I'm going to create a new folder, call it blueprints. Make.com blueprints. Okay. Inside of Make.com blueprints, I'm going to have all of this. So just so, if anybody sees this, they'll know that it's a work in progress. And I know I could use the draft function. I don't care. I'll add a page in the folder and we'll start, for instance. Let me just open this up side by side with AI content generator flow. Paste this in. Then I'll add the file. That seems pretty cool. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Upwork RSS feed and customization. Then copy this over, paste this in. Cool, I like that. Also, this is going to force me to go through all of these and then determine whether or not they work and maybe do like a quick walkthrough of what the person that is watching this needs to do in order to use it. So the perceived value here is going to be huge. And then I could just like link the actual YouTube video here, which would make my life a lot easier. So, okay, this is actually pretty straightforward. I don't know why I was making this such a big, scary deal in my head. Maybe part of the reason why is because I also have to convert these to N8N. And if I show the community that I've done the organization, but I haven't done the N8N stuff, maybe some people ask questions, hey, this is great and all, but like, where's the N8N stuff that you told us you do a couple weeks ago? And it's like, ah, shit, right? Forgot about that. Could be. But yeah, I actually don't even need to record videos. I could just link the videos here. And then like, if I think that the quality of the instruction is not good enough, then I could add them down below. And then situations where I have multiple, like 7-figure hiring system, instead of me breaking it into 3, like I've been doing so far, what I could do is just say 7-figure hiring system, paste in all 3 of these descriptions. I could do like the first one, simplifies the hiring process, then sends personalizing. Okay, maybe I'll fix that. I don't really know. I don't like how that looks. But voila, now I've just, compressed all 3 of these. This one here, that has 2. Instead of 1, I would just copy this, right? Like this. And then I'd attach both, right? Yeah, that seems pretty simple. I have a lot of blueprints, obviously. So I'm already, I don't know, about like 40% of the way there, but okay, cool. I got the structure. I know what I'm going to do. A lot of the time, the reason why you procrastinate on things is just because you don't have a defined mental roadmap for doing them. So in my case, I just went through and I created a defined mental roadmap. My mental roadmap is add a new thing to a folder, copy and paste the description that I've already generated before, do a once-over review. This is my actionable. And then if necessary, record a video explaining how to use it. So now I have a task that I know realistically will only take me maybe like 60 to 90 minutes, which is something very different from what I was doing before. So organized blueprint library is kind of scary, right? It's a very general, vague term. So instead, I'm going to say copy over blueprints to make.com blueprint folder in Make Money with Make. And now the duration of this task is going to be down to 60 minutes, which I think is a lot more doable. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? I don't like the way that this is currently not immediately clearing my tasks. So immediately clear tasks. How do I do this? Was it enter? No, space? Yes, there you go. Cool. So that's actually gonna be pretty easy. So yeah, I have actually outlined this. I'll just do the same thing for Maker School. Okay, final draft of newsletter onboarding. Um, Newsletter onboarding was what I made yesterday. So if I go to docs.google, ooh, was it here or was it somewhere else? No, these are questions from Make Money with Make. This is the 27th, so it's probably somewhere over here. Yeah, right over here. So I need to convert this one into an actual newsletter. So I'm going to do a little bit of copywriting for that. That seems pretty easy. And I'm just going to open it on my tab because now I know exactly how it's going to work. Basically, I need to take this, put this into, I think I'm going to be using Constant Contact, right? So sign up to Constant Contact. I think it was. I'll double check. Oh no, I think it was ConvertKit. And add template. Yeah, add template. And then after that, it's going to be write first email using the template I wrote yesterday for newsletter. This is probably going to take me like 20 minutes. Easy task to do. No problem. Okay, then I'm going to record the shorts. So I have to set up this freaking teleprompter. It's going to be a pain in my ass, but whatever. Set up teleprompter. And then record shorts from Shub. It's the guy that's helping me with this stuff. And then I need to prepare for my big meeting with dental clinics. I don't know enough about that. And just for the sake of customer information, I'm just going to add a line item here called look through 3 dental clinic sites, 3 of Jay's dental clinic sites, and prepare. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna look at it for like 5 minutes. That's all. Okay, cool. That seems pretty easy. Awesome. So yeah, in the strategy session, we actually already ideated my next 3 videos. I then planned out how I'm going to outline my blueprint and template structure. We actually did a little bit of that together. Then I'm going to write my final draft of the newsletter onboarding so I can start making consistent progress towards that. I've been dragging my feet on it for a while. I'm going to record shorts. Obviously, I can't record them here, but yeah, I'm going to slap a teleprompter over my current recording setup. Make sure I'm nice and in frame and stuff. And then I'll be like, hey, how's it going? I'm just going to like read it top to bottom. If you guys want an example of what that looks like, just go over here to Nick_Saraev. You'll see like the sort of video quality. It's virtually indistinguishable that I'm currently reading it from a teleprompter. Like I'm not reading this now, but like with the short form stuff. And I find that like to make short form stuff as punchy as possible, you kind of do need to do that. And then, yeah, I'm gonna prep for that meeting. My prep is usually, just to be clear, I'm going to spend like 5 minutes going through things. I have enough crystallized experience with all of this stuff that it's not a big deal for me to take it, apply it to their website and be like, you know, this looks kind of out of date. How about X, Y, and Z? I obviously have some systems from previous dental clinics that I've worked with that I could move over here as well. So we'll see how all that goes. Awesome. I'm going to answer a lot more questions tomorrow. So if anybody has any questions that I didn't get to in this video, just drop them down below. I really appreciate everybody's continued time and effort. Thank you very much for engaging. Probably by tomorrow, or maybe shortly after I do tomorrow's daily update, we'll be at 1,000 subs. So to have gone from 0 to over 1,000 subs for, you know, sort of like a daily strategy channel is huge. Average watch times are big as well. So I know that I'm providing at least some value to a lot of you guys. But if there's something else that you'd like to see in these videos, just drop them down below because, yeah, as you know, as you most certainly know at this point, I get a lot of my recommendations and content ideas and stuff from my audience. I mean, I'm sourcing a good 15 minutes every day just from questions from you guys alone. Other than that, if you guys like this sort of thing, you'll love Maker School, my day-to-day accountability program to help you build your AI and automation agency. Definitely check out makemoneywithmake.com if you already have an agency that's making some money and you want to take that to the next level. And I will catch y'all in the next video. And subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks.